Welcome into a Wednesday episode of Hornets Daily, your one-stop shop for all things Charlotte Hornets. As always, we're presented by the good people over at FanArc, and I'm your host, Vance Ballard, but you know by now you can call me VB. I want to thank everybody for watching today, joining along with us. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment down in the comments section. Always fun watching you guys interact as we continue to grow the Hornets Daily family here on the program. Speaking of the program, on the docket for today, another offseason grade has come in. The Athletic has taken their turn in grading the offseason performances of each team in the NBA. We'll find out exactly what they thought about the Hornets grade. We're going to do some number talk today, folks. It's an early August show. We've got to pick and choose what we can. We're going to talk about Khan's number. What does that number mean? I'll tell you what I think it symbolizes, getting a little bit in-depth on number choices. Grant Williams is back on the basketball court. We've got an update for his injury and what that could mean for the Hornets this season going forward. And we've talked a lot about the big man on this show. Everybody has been talking about the big man position in Charlotte. We've talked a lot about Salon. We've talked a lot about Musa. But we haven't mentioned the starting power forward, Miles Bridges, very much. We're going to talk a little bit about Miles, what kind of steps he can take this next season to continue to improve his game and push these Hornets forward to into the place they want to go as well. So busy docket today, quite a bit buzzing around the Queen City again. It is mid-August. We're picking and choosing, finding what we can. But we've got some good stuff for you here on the show, and you know we don't do beating around the bush. On this program, we're going to dive right into it today. Again, the Athletic has released their offseason grades, and they have given the Hornets a B, so a little bit better than the B- that ESPN gave, but a B nonetheless for Charlotte as they continue to be praised and appreciated for the things they have chosen to do this offseason, the moves they were able to make. Mike Vorkunov took his turn with the Hornets. He was the one giving the Hornets that grade. Again, much like ESPN, he was very impressed with what Charlotte has done so far this offseason. He went on to say, quote, "The Hornets had a solid offseason continuing their rebuilding project." As we know, that is exactly what's going on in Charlotte, and the Hornets are doing a more than satisfactory job of building up a roster that provides optimism and should be pretty good going down the road. He mentioned while he spoke about the trade sending Mark Williams out to Phoenix, which ended up in the acquisition of Liam McNeely. He mentioned the return from Phoenix wasn't as juicy as the original Williams trade out to the Lakers, but Vorkunov still said that what Charlotte did get back was, quote, good from Phoenix. It's clear that he said it's clear that Charlotte has a plan to fix the league's second worst offense from last year, and they've done a good job sticking to that plan, adding some playmaking, some athletic ability, and some shooting from both mid-range and beyond the arc with Colin Sexton, Spencer Dinwiddie, the likes of Pat Connaughton, the rookies as well, Kanipple, Liam McNeely. Kalkbrenner can shoot the three. Sion James, a good catch-and-shoot guy as well. So Vorkunov does agree that the Hornets have taken the necessary steps to improve that offense and to become a better overall playmaking team as well. He called when speaking about the Colin Sexton deal, that was my favorite. He called the trade mind-boggling, but not because of the Hornets addition of Colin Sexton, but because all it took to acquire him was Jusuf Nurkic, and the Hornets got back a second-round pick in the deal as well. So that is what he described as mind-boggling and a win for the Hornets. To be honest, I think everyone is in agreement with that statement as well. Now, Vorkunov continues to say that the Hornets have improved in the short term with these offseason moves, but due to the offseason moves that have been made, bringing in so many young guys, not including necessarily Sexton and Dinwiddie, but the four rookies specifically, even the additions of Drew Peterson, Antonio Reeves, two younger guys on two-way contracts as well. He said these moves have improved the team in the short term, but in order for success to come in the long term, these offseason moves it's going to require the future success, or in order to achieve future success, it's going to require these pieces and young guys to continue to stack up their success, continue to take the next step year after year, and the Hornets' development is going to have to work the way it seems to has been working with the guys we're watching as of right now, Salon, Dubate, KJ Simpson, those guys of those nature. It seems the development is working so far in Charlotte, but Verkanow says it's going to have to continue to work if these moves want to lead to success in the future. Again, not just the moves that have been made, but the additional draft capital that has been added. Verkanow says the Hornets, it's going to be crucial for Charlotte to hit on the majority of those picks. Obviously, we know every pick can't be a success, but it is going to be important for Charlotte to hit on more than they miss in terms of future draft capital. Now, he's not necessarily draft capital anymore, but Kanipple is one of those young pieces that Verkanow and the Athletic are talking about that need to be constantly improving, that need to continue to take the next step, that are going to be vital to the success of this organization down the line. Again, Kanipple very much on that list. We're going to talk a little bit about him today. Again, I told you at the top of the show, it's mid-August. We're testing ourselves. We're seeing what we can get out of random news dumps. And today we're talking numbers. Khan, as we know, has chosen to wear number 7 here in the NBA, much like he did at Duke. But what I find interesting about that is the reason behind him wearing number 7. Khan has chosen the number 7. It came out at Duke, but it's starting to resurface a little bit as we try to find things to talk about here in the summertime. It came out while he was at Duke that Khan chose number 7. He wears that number because of Larry Bird. Now, all through high school, Khan wore number 33, again, as inspiration for Larry Bird. Most of you probably recognize that number a little bit more, with a little bit more familiarity when it comes to Larry Bird. But number 7 was the jersey number that Larry Bird wore on the Olympic team. So and Khan obviously picked that because 33 has been retired at Duke due to Grant Hill. Sorry, got Grant Williams on my mind. Due to Grant Hill having worn that jersey at Duke, so Khan chose number 7, took a deep cut out of Larry Bird's jersey numbers and went with what he wore in the Olympic team. Now, I know you're sitting there thinking, who cares, Vance? Why does it matter? Yes, we know Khan is going to wear number 7, but I think there's a little bit of depth to that choice. I think it says something that he is that dedicated and that willing to go after his favorite player's number and take, again, a deep cut into a number that we don't expect to correlate with Larry Bird. Again, this is admittedly a middle of the summer topic, but I do think there's a little bit of depth here to it. It is very rare in my experience to see someone born in 2005 and later to have a true admiration for Larry Bird's game. Yes, everybody knows who Larry Bird is. Everybody understands on some level the impact he had in the NBA on the game of basketball as a whole. But for a guy to track him down, to wear his number all through high school, and then be willing, and then when forced to have to change that number, still goes out and finds another number worn by the same person, the dedication to Larry Bird's game there speaks a lot about who Khan is as a person. Again, he idolizes Larry Bird, but I think it's more than just from a basketball standpoint. Khan carries a lot of what Larry Bird was as a person with him as well. Now, not the trash talking. We've heard Khan talk about that. He says trash talking not necessarily a part of his game, that could change when he gets into the NBA. But he did say that's an aspect from Larry Bird he didn't necessarily take, but he has truly tried to model all other aspects of his game, of his lifestyle around the Indiana native. Again, Khan's been very open about Larry being one of his basketball heroes, going all the way back to his time in high school, but he's done more than just pick his player's favorite number. He's chosen to mold his game after the Larry the Legend, and I think that should bring a lot of positivity and a lot of optimism to this fan base, knowing that Khan is not just a guy who is going to go out there and just be out there playing basketball. He's not just a basketball player. He's a true lover of the game of basketball. He's a student of the game. He can learn, and if he can take the the mindset that Larry Bird brought to each and every game, that level of competitiveness, that desire to win, if that is something that just picking the number 7 can help inspire Khan to do, then we absolutely have a good thing on our hands here in Charlotte. He's more than just a guy who's heard of Larry Bird. I know everyone falls into that category, but even as a young guy, Kanipple is a student of the game. He studies Larry Bird's game, and he's received a few comparisons to Larry Bird. I'm not going to sit here and make that. I know it's kind of crazy to think that Kanipple could be in the same category as one of the best to ever do it, but it is still positive and inspiring going forward that Kanipple cares this much about such a legend, and is willing to take his game to that level by studying Larry Bird, by using him as inspiration for what he should do on the basketball court and what he should be in the NBA. That, to me, is a very positive sign. Just, again, something I'm probably reading way too deep into a number choice, but I think it says a lot about the potential of who Kanipple could be here in Charlotte. And if he does turn out to be Larry Bird, hey, we're not going to complain about that either. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about Grant Williams today. I spoke about that at the beginning of the show. Grant Williams, some good news. We've seen him back in the gym now. A second video since the beginning of Summer League has surfaced of Grant Williams back in the basketball gym. We saw him working out a little bit as the team headed into Summer League. This time, some more progress. We see Grant Williams, I don't want to call it running, but he does jog the length of the court from one end of the floor to the other, and he finishes off that play. Not a very hard dunk, not a hammer finish, nothing impressive by any means, but he does get off the ground and dunk the ball in that video. We then see him step out to the three-point line and hit back-to-back threes to finish up the drill or the set or the rep, whatever you want to call it, that Grant Williams was doing at the time in the video. Some very positive things coming out of this video. Good to see Williams again. His rehab seems to be working. We don't know the exact timetable. The first time we talked about Grant Williams, it was mentioned Christmas is probably the most realistic timetable for Williams' fully healthy return. But this is a very good sign to see him moving forwards and continuing to progress on the basketball court. Again, we don't know when he's going to be cleared to give him that full go, but when he is, Williams is going to be very important to this Hornets roster. It's also starting to seem a lot like Grant is actually going to be around in Charlotte when he does get that full clear. It's looking less and less like Williams is going to be one of the pieces moved in the offseason as the Hornets start to maybe settle down with the roster they do have. Of course, they still have to make the roster cuts, get that down to 15. But in terms of moving guys around to other places, it's starting to trend like the Hornets are comfortable with the roster that they do have. Now, Grant Williams, we know, will provide a very large veteran presence, not only in the locker room but on the floor when he gets out there. Williams has been called a more type of glue guy, not necessarily a stat sheet stuffer. We know that about Grant. He does possess a good offensive game. He can shoot the lights out from beyond the arc, but his sheer purpose, his sole role is not to stuff the stat sheet. It is to be that glue guy, is to be that extension of Charles Lee and his coaching staff on the floor. It was visible that he was not out there to do that last year, especially on the defensive end. The Hornets, I don't need to go into depth about this, but the Hornets looked a little bit lost on that end of the floor after losing Grant Williams, who was, again, kind of that coach role on the floor, played a big part in leading the team, getting the young guys in the right spots and doing what they're supposed to do. His return and having that back on the floor will be vital. Again, Williams does most of his work with the intangibles as opposed to stuff in the stats. He is a good rebounder. He is good on defense, but that again falls in that intangible category. And if he does catch fire shooting from beyond the arc, then that is just a bright spot for the night for the Hornets as well. Williams can be a good leader in terms of energy level and energy level and passion for the game as well. He's a very high energy level, high energy guy on both ends of the floor, but specifically on defense. And if that can rub off on the rest of the guys around him, the Hornets will definitely improve on the defensive end of the floor as well. As I mentioned, when he's out there, he's more of an extension of Charles Lee on the floor, kind of that coach in a uniform per se. So when Grant comes back, the Hornets will almost instantly get better on both ends of the floor. I'm not saying this is going to be the addition of an all-star or an all-NBA type guy, but adding a glue guy, adding a leader in that, from moving him from the leadership position in the locker room to getting him back on the floor, to him being a presence with his guys, that can really go a long way to improve this team as well. Williams is someone who doesn't mind playing this role as well. I think that also just is another compliment towards who Grant is as a person. He does not mind doing the dirty work. He kind of relishes in that, as a matter of fact. He takes pride in being that scrappy, veteran, hard-nosed defender who can step out and hit a three-pointer when you need him to as well. It's very good to see. It's very good, very promising. Again, just another reason for optimism here in the Queen City that Williams is progressing the way he's supposed to. Everything seems to be on track. Knock on wood, no setbacks yet for Grant's recovery. Again, we don't know the exact timetable, but it is nice to see him continue to rehab, continue to get better, and hopefully he will be back to full go as soon as possible. Now, until he does get back to full go, a lot of the pressure, a lot of the responsibilities, a lot of the duties at the power forward position are going to fall on the starter, Miles Bridges. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we've talked several times at length, ad nauseum, if you will, about Tujan Salan, about Moussa Diabate, about the other big men on this roster, about the big man position overall in the Queen City. But someone we have not mentioned very much is the projected starter, Miles Bridges. Now, again, as I mentioned, until Grant gets back, he's going to take a lot of the load at the power forward position. Tujan Salan is there, assumed to come off the bench and play the backup role at the power forward. We know that Moussa will get some time at the 4 as well when he's not busy playing the 5. When Plumlee or Kalkbrenner are on the floor, Moussa can move down and play that 4 position as well. He is more of a natural 4, so it'll fit. The addition of Drew Peterson is interesting. He's 6'9". He's listed as a forward. Now, if you know anything about him, there's the small research that I've done learning about Drew Peterson since he's been added. It is obvious to me that he is much better suited as a wing player. His style of play just fits him better on the wing. He can shoot the ball. He's a little bit longer at that position. Not a bad defender, but he's more quick than he is a big body in the paint type of guy. But he, too, will probably see some minutes at the 4 position just because, again, he is 6'9", and the Hornets do need bodies in that role until Grant Williams gets back. But Bridges, obviously the most preferred option, the best name of everybody, even when Grant Williams comes back. But he is the best name in the power forward room, and he's going to need to have another strong year, much like he did last year, but another strong year, continued improvement, another step forward for Bridges is going to be vital for the Hornets' success and this team getting where they want to go, which this season is the playoffs, especially with the chance to take advantage of the Eastern Conference, for lack of a better term, in shambles the way that it is. Being on the floor is going to be vital for Miles Bridges. He, too, got a bit of an injury bug, got an interesting history up and down with staying on the floor. Miles is entering his 7th year in the league, but he's only played more than 70 games twice in that time. So again, keeping him healthy, keeping him on the floor, the best ability is availability when it comes to Miles Bridges. He kind of not as badly falls into the category as LaMelo Ball, but him and Brandon Miller, also the 2 other young stars on this team, that health is going to be vital for. Now, Miles is coming off one of his better seasons in the NBA, a year where he scored 20 points per game, averaged 7.5 rebounds per game, and just under 4 assists, 3.9 to be exact, in the 64 games that he did play in last season. So again, another one of those years where Bridges didn't play the most amount of games or even a preferred amount. He was battling through some things, but he did look very strong, was very important, and was a big piece of the Hornets' success when he was on the floor. Bridges played in, again, 64 games last year, averaging 31.7 minutes per game. So he gave big minutes to the Hornets, big minutes to the starters, and is going to be important. Is going to need to do exactly that again this year. A good strong shooting year for Miles Bridges as well. He shot 46% from the field, 34% from three. He's going to need another year similar to that for the Hornets to be good, but I think that Bridges is going to need to take another step. I think he may need to even get better for the Hornets to continue to improve, for them to truly become that playoff team that they're looking to become. Now, as a 27-year-old, he's going to be ancient in this Hornets locker room. He's going to be very much older than some of his teammates, and that too is going to be important, as Bridges will need to take the next step, not only on the court but off of it as well, in terms of that leadership role, in terms of being almost a mentor for some of these young guys coming in, trying to learn the NBA and learn exactly where they fit and what they need to do, what's best for them to help this Hornets team. Bridges is going to be vital in shaping some of those young guys, steering them in the right direction, showing them how to be successful in the NBA. It's not just going to be on the court, it's going to be off of it as well. Michigan native Miles Bridges is entering a crucial year for himself as well in terms of success and improvement and staying healthy. Bridges, he's been mentioned several times this offseason as a trade piece. Everyone's name, it feels like, on this roster, short of Brandon Miller, has been mentioned as a trade piece. Bridges floated around. Even we talked about it on this show. He was even floated in a hypothetical trade for Zion out in New Orleans. Now, I spoke about that already. Won't dive deep into it. I don't think it's a smart move. I think keeping Bridges was the right choice there, not making a move for another injury-riddled player like Zion Williamson. But I digress. Keeping Bridges in-house has been important for Charlotte, and this is going to be a vital year 7 for him. He's going to need to stay on the floor. I'd like to see him play over that 70-game mark, as he probably will need to with the Hornets roster set up the way it is. Bridges stays on the floor. He may not, I'm not saying he needs to take a step up and average 25, 26 points a game, but if he can become a better rebounder, if he can become better on defense, if he can become a better leader and just take the next steps in those categories as well, 20 points, almost 21 points a game is a fine number, especially with the offensive additions that this team has made. Colin Sexton's going to come in and get his. We know LaMelo can get to the bucket. Brandon Miller, he looks to take a step forward offensively as well. So it's not going to be on Bridges to go out and get 25, get 30 points a night. But if he can take an extra step in some of those other smaller places, like defensively, like rebounding, like being a leader, being a vocal leader, being a veteran leader on the Hornets team, if he can take those steps, Bridges is going to he'll continue to grow in his own right, and he'll help these rookies come along and be better suited for the long run as well. We all know what Miles Bridges is capable of. We've seen him at his best. We've seen him at his worst. We've seen him in the middle. We know what we get out of Miles Bridges. The thing to watch, the interesting thing to me is he going to be able to show us that there's more in that bag, there's more in the tank. He can take that next step and continue. We know he is a star. We know he's a vital piece. We know he's one of the quote-unquote big three on this Hornets team, along with Miller and Ball. But can Bridges take another step, get himself to another level, and continue to separate himself as a star in the NBA, in this league? I think in order for the Hornets to get where they want to go, Bridges is going to have to find that next level in his overall game, and not just offensively, not just defensively, but all around. Bridges is going to have to find another level in his game for the Hornets to be successful going forwards this season and into the future. That'll be something to keep an eye on, and as it unfolds, we'll have all of the details for you right here on Hornets Daily. That's going to do it for today's show, folks. As always, thanks for watching. Be sure if you haven't, smash that subscribe button. Leave a comment down in the comment section. Tell me what you think about Miles Bridges and the impact he can have on the Hornets roster this season. How excited are you? Are you excited at all? Do you not care about Grant Williams coming back? Leave all that down in the comment section. We'll dive into it later on in the week. As always, thanks for watching. Have a great week.